Did Peter Dutton tell you before last Wednesday's party room meeting that he was going to reject the model that you put forward at the National Press Club?
Look, I'm not going to go into the specifics of discussions that we had. I'll say this. Peter and I have been talking about my position on The Voice since last December, and that I was a person who very much wanted to campaign yes for this. You know, we had a shadow cabinet meeting, we had a party room meeting. The feeling in all of the meetings that we had on Wednesday was overwhelming. My colleagues did not want to support the model that the Prime Minister put forward. They did commit, as I'm committing to today, to local and regional voices, because we know that supporting local and regional voices is the thing that will help shift the dial on the ground. I think my colleagues have known what my position on this has been for a long time, because I've been such a public advocate. As I say, I even started an organisation called Uphold and Recognise some years ago, almost 10 years ago, to encourage constitutional conservatives to support this idea. And so what I'm doing today is to resign on a point of principle so I can campaign yes.
I just think there needs to be some sort of clarity on that part. Like, is the sticking point for Liberals about a legislative voice in the Constitution? Is that the sticking point that people seem to have an issue in the party?
Look, I think the key difference between the government and the opposition on this is that the position that the opposition has taken is not to support a referendum to put the voice in the Constitution. That, I think, is the key point. The opposition's position is to support constitutional recognition, but not the voice in the Constitution. The opposition's position as well is to support the rollout of local and regional voices. That was recommended by the Calma-Langton report, and so to bring that about. Let me tell you my position. My position is to support the voice in the Constitution. My position is to support the rollout of local and regional voices that lead into a national voice. That is the position that I will be advocating for.
Are you personally disappointed that you've had to resign today, and do you think the party could have handled this a bit better?
No, I'm not. I mean, our party has a tradition. We have a tradition that members of the executive, shadow cabinet, shadow ministers need to abide by the decision of shadow cabinet and the party room, and that's a time-honoured tradition. One of the great things we have in the Liberal Party, and I have to contrast our position to the Labor Party. If I was in the Labor Party, I would have to resign from the Labor Party in order to do this. Because I'm in the Liberal Party, as a backbencher, I can choose to have the freedom to champion an issue that I think is important, as backbenchers do every day, and that is the choice I've made.
Julian, do you take any responsibility for the fact that you haven't been able to move the Liberal Party and the shadow cabinet with you? As you said, you've had your position for a long time and they knew that.
Look, this is a topic about which reasonable people will come to and be able to have reasonable disagreements about. I respect the position of my colleagues. I respect the experiences that they bring to the Parliament, the communities they represent and the like, and they have a different history on these issues to the history that I have. I've ultimately come to the position I have because I've been here from day one as a supporter of the idea of this. I wish the government could have done a process which would have brought more people along, which would have committed to the local and regional voices, which would have seen a national voice legislated so there was more detail on the table, which would have worked through the constitutional amendment before it went to the sort of final committee point. But they haven't, and so we are where we are, and I'll be proud to campaign over the next period in order to change that amendment so we can put an amendment that's got a better chance of success.
Has your decision to resign will follow your move?
Well, that's ultimately a matter for them, but for me, I think I'm the only person who's had this unique experience of having been involved in this issue for a decade, having sat down with constitutional conservatives and Indigenous leaders to work out one way of how this could be done, to have chaired a joint select committee on these matters, to have established an organisation to encourage constitutional conservatives to get on board and support this. No one else in our party room has that experience, and so I think I'm in a unique situation. Today I'm resigning without rancour, but on a point of principle, and I think what I want to be able to say to my children in the future is that your father stood up for something that he believes in, and that's really important, and that's what all of us as parliamentarians should do.